Attention A1 Trading Show fans. If you're interested in getting free access to the Edge Finder or our premium trade alerts, listen up. For a limited time, our show's partnered broker 8cap is giving out free access to our products when you sign up for a new trading account with them. If you already have a broker, you may want to consider switching to 8cap because of their low trading costs, a wide range of trading assets, and their amazing customer support. If you'd like to get access to our software and Discord server for free, click the link being dropped in the chat right now and ask one of our team members for more information. Don't miss your chance for free products and an award-winning broker. Now back to the A1 Trading Show.
All right. Good evening. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. We got our bonus stream today, our second stream of the day. And I hope it's worth your while. I hope it's if you watched earlier and you're back for another one, I hope to make it worth your time, worth your evening, wherever you're tuning in from. By the way, just curious, where are you guys tuning in from? Comment really quick. Are you watching from, North America, Europe, Africa, Asia, South America? Let me know where you're tuning in from, what country, as we watch what we've got in front of us, which is the NVIDIA earnings report, arguably the biggest event of this week, in my personal view, in terms of financial markets. And it's going to be a big one. As a shareholder myself, I'm very curious to see what their numbers are. And just a heads up, I'm going to be basically reacting to the figure drop, maybe what I can find on Twitter, etc. I'm not going to do the earnings call because my wife is going to start making dinner soon. I'm going to go home and help her. But we're going to we're going to take a look at the earnings numbers and just get a reaction to the market. We got 350 people tuning in already, so thanks for being here. We got people from Japan, Morocco, Massachusetts, South Africa, Lebanon, Japan, Ireland. I mean, look at that. Kenya, Brazil, South Africa, Ghana, Kenya, Lithuania, England, Canada. We got a little bit of everybody. It is amazing how important NVIDIA is to the state of this whole rally that we've been watching, right? Whether you're somebody in, wherever you are, it has a huge impact on markets. And if you're just a casual viewer, if you're just like, I'm just curious to see what happens, but I don't trade these things, then hopefully we can still add some value to your day as well. What I want you to understand about NVIDIA is, how stocks are performing. Also, let me figure out what's going on with my pen. I'm not sure. I got to restart it or something. How we view, I don't know what is happening with my pen here today. Is not wanting to work. We might go without it. Not sure. Anyways, what I want you to understand in terms of why this matters so much, why NVIDIA's continued rally or lack thereof matters so much to markets. It's because at the end of the day, what got us out of this rut, if you're somebody who is not new, you've been watching the markets for a little bit, what got us out of that big 2020 sell-off? 2022. Some of you guys might remember that 2022 was a pretty rough year for financial markets. In fact, if you take a look at this big dip, right, we had a 38% sell-off in the NASDAQ. That is aggressive. So the reason that NVIDIA's earnings matter so much is because since then, what has pulled us from the depths? Well, some of you guys might remember that during this time, the AI trade became kind of a rumor. The AI, revolution or whatever, people who were very bearish at the time took that as a total gimmick. Are you kidding me? That's going to be what takes us out of the out of the fear of recession. Well, it was that, and the Fed was able to, they hiked rates a bunch and then they stopped and that started to let the market go up. But really, what fueled this rally? The NASDAQ from its lows, guys, peaked out at a 100% gain in just a few short years. That's massive. So why did that happen? Well, it's because technology was fueled higher, which led the rest of the market by the prospect that AI has the potential to make companies more efficient. Long story short, it has the potential to make companies make more money. And as a stockholder, as a stock trader, that's all you want to hear. If you're an investor in a stock and they tell you that they're going to be able to cut their expenses by 15%, suddenly that's just money in your pocket if you're a shareholder. So that's been a big fuel to this rally. Now, at the center of this rally, at the center of the tech trade, has been the picks and shovels producer, NVIDIA. Now, there's other names, there's other stocks that play a role. There's other companies that contribute to the semiconductors team, if you will. You have companies like AMD, right? Some traders will love AMD, or they'll be looking at Qualcomm, which is another one. Then you have, I was just looking at Micron Technologies. You have Taiwan Semi. There are many names here to consider in the semiconductor space, but all of them kind of pale in comparison to the big dog, which is NVIDIA. NVIDIA is the main producer. They have the best technologies, and they provide, the top quality products to this market. So when you think about the California gold rush, remember learning about that in like 7th grade? The California gold rush, if you're a US, I don't know if they teach that in other countries. Do they teach the California gold rush historical lesson in other places? I really doubt that. But I remember that being a really fun topic. A lot of the migration west was fueled in the United States by the prospect that there's gold out there. Get out there and we'll sell you a pick and shovel so that you can get mining out there. And that fueled a lot of progression to westward expansion in the United States. Gosh, I love history. If I wasn't doing trading, I'd probably be doing something historical. It's just, I just find it fascinating. No one cares about U.S. history abroad. Fair enough. So the gold rush, huge, right? It fueled Western expansion. And the reason that I bring that up, what does that have to do with this, Nick? Well, right now, the new frontier is AI and supercomputers and technology advancing. Well, what's fueling it? Well, just like in the gold rush, there was picks and shovel companies that were making a ton of money selling the miners to go out there, railroads making a bunch of money, and all these supportive businesses. Well, the rush to make semiconductors and have the best computer systems and best AI, all of that is fueled by semiconductor companies. That is why they're also high risk, high reward. They can drop very quickly. They can rise very quickly. They're highly volatile. And I personally have a good chunk of them in my portfolio. So today, as we approach NVIDIA earnings, I believe it is about 10 minutes from now that we are going to get the numbers. And you might be saying, Nick, if you have a big chunk of your account in semiconductors, why don't you close? Well, because I don't close based off of news events coming, because otherwise I'd be closing out my positions constantly. But here's the caveat. I think that there's a lot of upside to semiconductors, even if we get short-term volatility today. So even if we get something not particularly exciting from NVIDIA, let's say that their earnings guidance is just not great, or the numbers are just not as good as people had hoped. If that happens, I'm going to be on the short term taking on some water in my positions, right? So if NVIDIA earnings are not rock star, then it is likely that NVIDIA will pull back. Now, I got NVIDIA on the big dip that we saw recently, the 17% pullback in the NASDAQ. I bought up some NVIDIA during that time. I didn't catch the low, but I got in on some NVIDIA shares. And if it goes lower, I'll tell you this, if NVIDIA goes lower, I'm happy to actually build a bigger position. This is a tiny position on my account, and I say that I recognize that is a privilege to say. I have a large trading account that I've built up over the years. This is a small portion of my account. I'd like to make it bigger, but I don't want to, I took my initial trade here when everybody was saying the sky was going to fall out. I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit like, okay, we might be buckling in here and we may go lower. And I didn't buy my full sizing NVIDIA. And usually when I buy stocks, that's not how I do. I don't buy all at once. I buy a dollar cost average on companies that I really like. So for NVIDIA, if we drop, then great. I may actually get a chance to buy it at a better price. But if we pop here, then it'll be good for a lot of my other positioning. And I just want to add some context here. The other thing is I like the backdrop for the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ is getting a bullish rating on our software here. When we take a look at some statistics here, I want to show you the stock indices, because that's really what probably most of you guys who are watching care about. Some of you trade NVIDIA. Some of you trade the NASDAQ. Can you guys do me a big favor? What do you care most about? Comment this really quick in the chat. I'd be very curious to see. We got 522 people watching across the different platforms that we're streaming to. Can you guys do me a big favor? What chart are you most interested? Are you looking at the NASDAQ? Are you looking at NVIDIA? Are you looking at SPX? What are you guys watching the most into this earnings report? I'll tell you, for me, it's probably SMH. It's probably SPY. It's probably NVIDIA itself. Those are what I'm watching. I just want to see what people are watching in the chat. We got Bitcoin, gold, NVIDIA, NVIDIA, SPX. Yeah. So that's kind of what my guess was. My guess was you guys are index guys and girls. And so let's take a look at that. So I am bullish on the indices, but today's close was a little bit uncertain, but it's not closed yet, because with NVIDIA's earnings, this has the strong potential to make a large move one way or the other. I don't know what the numbers are going to be. We're going to get them about 9 minutes today. 9 minutes from now, we're going to get NVIDIA's earnings. So that's going to have impact. It could leave us with a long wick on the bottom with a big rally, or we could go lower here. Now, let me give you one more piece of information, guys. So we've got the earnings release in 8 minutes, okay? But then we have the call with NVIDIA's CEO and others. I think that's going to be in about 45 minutes. Both of these events, guys, are going to have a lot of impact on the stock and the broader market itself. So even if you don't trade NVIDIA, please understand NVIDIA is like the baton leader. It is passing the baton to the rest of the major stocks and to the index itself in just a few minutes. So it is likely to be very volatile. I also want to make this kind of a public service announcement. If you're somebody who is, very leveraged or long or short or whatever on all of these things, we got to watch. We got to be careful. Somebody just said did CrowdStrike have earnings? Okay, CrowdStrike did have earnings. I own CrowdStrike as well, so I'm a little bit curious about this. CrowdStrike beat earnings. Very nice. We'd like to see that. Again, what you may see something very similar to this reaction with NVIDIA, because it's all about the call and the forward guidance is released on the call. So we've got a lot to look forward to here, guys. It is likely to cause some volatility on the indices, whether you trade the SPX, whether you trade NASDAQ. NVIDIA is imperative. Pelosi bought NVIDIA, so I'm long. That's been historically a good strategy. We'll see if it holds up today. Yeah, so we will have to see. But currently, the NASDAQ down about 1.16% with about 6 minutes to go, guys, before we get the NVIDIA earnings. I'm going to have them side by side, NASDAQ and NVIDIA next to one another, just to see what the reaction is to the market. Should be really interesting. So I just really wanted to also give you a backdrop. Let's map this out for a second. Let's say NVIDIA earnings are not good. Let's say they're going to be good, but let's just say they're not dazzling, which is what it would take for the market to really love NVIDIA and shoot higher. You'd need really good earnings. Now, this is going to confuse new traders as it does every single time. If NVIDIA's earnings come out good, that's not enough. NVIDIA's earnings have to come out stellar to get the market to go up. Okay? Everyone knows NVIDIA is a monster company. The question is, are they even more of a monster company than they were yesterday? That's what matters with the earnings. Okay? So I just want to give you this backdrop too. Overall, bias for me on the Nasdaq, which is of course what the semiconductors companies, etc., looks pretty good. You got institutional buying from the commitment of traders report. You got seasonally, it's a pretty good time still, but although we're going into September, so be careful on seasonality. August in an election year, not the worst time, but also not the best. Trend still to the upside. We'll see if that can sustain itself in just a little bit. GDP stats came out stronger than expected. Manufacturing PMI, not great. Services PMI was pretty good. Retail sales numbers came in better than expected. Inflation statistics came in better than expected. And jobs data has been a little bit poor. Interest rates are coming down. That's positive for the NASDAQ. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with an overall pretty good environment, especially with us knowing the Fed is likely to cut rates soon. That's a good backdrop. And I would say the economy's in a spot where it's not crashing, but holding out for rate cuts. That makes me bullish on the NASDAQ. In general, I am a buyer of dips on the NASDAQ. And within the NASDAQ, that's where we get into the semiconductor companies, right? That's why I like that area. It is the kind of leader of the tech trade. But let me just say, I'm saying it's the leader. I could sound really dumb in about 5 minutes when they release the numbers. I don't know what the statistics on or the earnings are going to be. I'm just saying that if we do see a big drop, I'm going to look at that as kind of a broader theme, still an okay opportunity to maybe pick up some more shares for my existing NVIDIA position. And if we pop, then great. Then we're up on the position. But I just wanted to make that clear. I don't know what's going to happen. I do have a position. It is relatively, I know it sounds kind of crazy because, I'm in a good overall spot. This is not a huge portion of my account. It is a relatively small position and I'd like to make it bigger. So if we get a big drop, I mentioned that earlier. That's kind of my goal is if you do see a huge drop on NVIDIA, I can actually build a position out. But if we continue to go higher, then that's fine too. So we'll see. I'm kind of agnostic to that, although I do have a good size position on other areas of the stock market like SPY, SMH, IWM that would benefit greatly from really strong NVIDIA earnings. So we'll get those. Again, we're coming out in just about 3 minutes to go. Supposedly that's what I could find on the internet. If please someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we're getting NVIDIA's earnings at 4:20 p.m. US Eastern. That is in 3 minutes. Yeah. So we will see. Put your stop loss the same as your buy position. So this NVIDIA position for me is not a trade. This is more of an investment. I like the company. I think it has a lot of potential to continue being a monster company. And I think that they're going to grow earnings really quick. But that could get challenged in just a few minutes here. So if we get something contrary, am I going to close out position? No, I'll just probably wait for a better price on NVIDIA. Some ideas where I may choose to add if we were to see a broader sell-off in the market would be maybe a move down to 95 I could add, maybe a move to 80 I could add, and then I could actually start getting a little bit bigger of a position size on NVIDIA. So I do own several stocks. I also own things like CrowdStrike, which apparently had good earnings, which is awesome. So there we go. CrowdStrike's doing okay today. We'll see if that can spread the good news to NVIDIA or not. Tesla's another one. Gave back a lot of my gains on this stock. But again, these are long-term positions for me. I'm not looking to make an immediate return and close it or anything like that. I don't usually trade very actively individual stocks. I may play some options on it, but for the most part, these are longer term holds. What's more of a trade for me is watching the indices. The indices have the potential to really move here in the next, just about minute or so. Everything from SPX to, the Qs, NASDAQ. We will see what we get here. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my charts here. I'm going to keep the NASDAQ on the left. I'm going to put NVIDIA on NASDAQ on the right, NVIDIA on the left. And we can watch this live together to see what the reaction is, again, to their initial release of the numbers. We will see. Supposed to be coming out in the next 1 minute. Please be careful during times like this. It is very easy to get yourself into very troubling positions if you are gambling on these sorts of events. I do not know what the earnings release is going to be. I'm here to react to it and adjust accordingly. If they're great, then great. I could, stay long indices. And if they are terrible, then maybe it's time to take some profits on some of the positions I got in the last month. We got the 15-minute chart pulled up on both. Numbers are supposedly coming out in the next 10 seconds. We'll see. All right, I'm going to pull up also at the same time. NVIDIA making a little bit of a move lower here. Once the numbers are out, you will definitely know because the chart will be crazy. All right, NVIDIA making a move lower here. Back down towards the lows of the session currently. Also, it's a beat. Okay. Let me know what, if you guys have stats, if you see anything, if you find anything, please let me know. Please share it in the chat. Again, estimates for earnings are 64.5 cents per share. Estimates in terms of revenue, 28.73 billion. All right, NVIDIA just reported earnings of 68 cents per share, beating expectations of 64 cents. Revenue of 30 billion, beating expectations of 28.7 billion. My goodness, guys, $30 billion in revenue. I don't know how they do it. I mean, I know how they do it. I know they're a killer company. What I mean is I don't know how they so consistently just rock earnings estimates. Seeing at least a positive reaction so far. Crazy, crazy numbers, huh? NVIDIA reports Q2 revenue, 30 billion versus street estimate of 28.75. So that is a pretty nice beat there on earnings. My goodness, revenue's crazy. They just tacked on, oops, we accidentally made an extra, or we brought in an extra $1.25 billion. That's crazy. Beat on the top and bottom line for NVIDIA. But you can see, you might say, Nick, why is the stock not up? That's how highly valued or highly kind of the expectations for this company is. Everybody knows NVIDIA is a beast, and they came out beast mode, and still you can see the stock's reactions kind of muted. Now, here's the thing. The other thing to remember is that just like we just discussed with CrowdStrike kind of moving back and forth during the earnings, it's all about the guidance. It's all about what is coming next for NVIDIA. You got 785, oh my goodness, 800 people watching. Thanks for being here. We're reacting to NVIDIA's earnings currently. If you're enjoying the show, do me a big favor and hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new. We cover all sorts of market stuff. Today's big headline was definitely NVIDIA and how things are performing. S&P 500 lower. Same thing with the NASDAQ. There goes the NASDAQ sliding a little bit more. Look at that. NVIDIA now down to 121. What kind of move is that? Let's see. That's a 4% move lower. Making a push lower. That is for sure. Market's still reacting to the numbers as they're, they came out, but the market's kind of factoring in everything. Even though they had the beat, that is just to show you how highly anticipated and expectations are very, very high for NVIDIA. NVIDIA can't come out with anything short of perfection. Otherwise, the market is not happy. So you can see down 5, now 6% NVIDIA is continuing to push lower. And that's on good earnings, guys. You have to think that's not on NVIDIA didn't come out with horrible earnings. They came out with great earnings and still the stock sells off. Simply due to the expectations for this company being so high. So you can see there's my position. Giving back some gains here. It's a little bit early to really call it though, because here's the thing. NVIDIA earnings being released are one thing. The projections for forward guidance are the other. Will that save the day? Maybe. Will that continue to make it much worse? That also could potentially happen. If NVIDIA makes a bigger move lower, if we really break through the lows, if you get this massive kind of sell-off for the next few weeks, that would be perhaps a better opportunity on the longer run to get some good cheap shares. The other thing to remember is why were earnings so good? Well, it's because all the big customers of NVIDIA, like Meta, Microsoft, Apple, the reason that those companies, the reason that NVIDIA earnings are so big, $30 billion, that is insane revenue. Beating estimations, that's crazy. The reason it's so big is because all of the ginormous companies are customers of NVIDIA. Let's take a look at the move here on the 4-hour candle. We were down down as much as 8.5%. I mean, this is just a violent move. Look at this, just from the lows there, up 5% in about what, 1 minute? Just volatile. NASDAQ kind of following suit. You can see on the right here, we got the NASDAQ moving lower. Big sell-off here with the taking out today's lows, by the way. Today's lows got taken out there. How's the SPX doing too? SPX, my stop is trailed right here. If we take that out, then I am going to be closing out for a profit on that SPX trade. We'll see. Just a violent mover. If the SPX takes out the lows here, what that would mean is I'm back to having some cash and I can look for some opportunities out there. And if this thing rallies, then great. We'll make money on that side. So I'm kind of agnostic to what happens here. I've been in an SPX long position for, some time here. So if this takes out the lows, if we get, an earnings call that's really disappointing, I'm going to be trailing out and taking profits on this. That's where I'm currently positioned, guys. I'm going to be hopping off here in just a second. I know it's kind of short and sweet, 760 people here. Thanks for hanging out with me. NVIDIA's earnings call, I'm not going to be streaming that, but you can find it all over the internet. You can also tune into their investor relations page and listen to the earnings call yourself to hear from the CEO and team, if that is something you're interested in. Before I go, remember, if you guys would like access to the Edge Finder, it is currently 35% off. We'll drop the link really quick to speak directly to a member of my team if you'd like to get access to this tool while the discount is live. 35% off, get access to all of the data that I use to make the trading decisions that I make. So if you're looking for more fundamental analysis, if you're somebody who trades indices, gold, commodities, etc., this might be the right tool for you. If you have any questions, or you'd like information about the discount, so on and so forth, you can get all of that by sending us a direct message using that link that just got dropped in the chat. All right, I'm off to dinner with my wife. Thank you guys very much for watching. Cheers. Thanks for sticking around with me after the bell, and we will see you next time. See you guys.
Thanks for tuning in to today's A1 Trading Show. Make sure to subscribe and to turn on post notifications so you don't miss the next one. Also, we're looking for more guests to come on the show. If you're comfortable being on camera, have trading experience, and you're looking to grow your audience exposure, we'd love to have you on. In the live stream chat and description below, we'll drop a link to apply to be a live stream guest and join in on the conversation. We hope to have you on soon. That's all for today. Trade safe, and we'll see you next time.